Sukhā matteyyatā loke, atho petteyyatā Sukhā, Sukhā sāmaññatā loke, atho brahmaññatā Sukhā. Blessed in this world is cherishing one's mother. Cherishing one's father too is blessed in this world. Blessed is supporting the ascetics. Blessed too is supporting the noble ones. I would like to start by paying homage to the Lord Buddha, offering salutation to senior and junior monks respectively. Greetings to all the lay supporters and distinguished guests, especially the Venerable Michael Viradhammo and the family Kokoska, who have joined with this online memorial dedication chanting today in the name of their late father, Mr. George Kokoska, who passed away on December 10th, 2023, aged 65. Today is Saturday, January the 6th, 2024, and I am Phra Nicholas Thanissaro of Dhammapada International Meditation Center in Azusa. Today I'd like to share a short Dhamma talk on the topic of gratitude to parents for the benefit of all those joining this memorial ceremony, either online or in person today. My Dhamma talk today is derived from the Dhammapada verse 332 and its commentary in a teaching given by the Buddha at Savatthi with reference to children who abandoned their father in his old age. Once there lived in Savatthi an old Brahmin who was extremely rich. He had 4 sons, and when each of the sons got married, he gave a portion of his wealth to each of them. Then he gave away half of his remaining property to them. Later, when his wife died, his sons came to him and looked after him very well, and they were very loving and affectionate to him. During the course of time, however, they somehow influenced them to give the other half of the remaining property. So he was left penniless at the end of his life. First he went to stay with his eldest son, and after a few days the daughter-in-law said to him, "Did you give any extra wealth to your eldest son? Don't you know the way to the house of your other sons?" Hearing this, the old Brahmin got very embarrassed and left the eldest son's home for the home of his second son. The same remarks were made by the wife of his second son, and the old man went to the house of his third son, and finally to the house of his fourth and youngest. Thus the old man was left destitute, and taking a walking stick and a begging bowl, he went to the Buddha for protection and advice. At the monastery, the Brahmin told the Buddha how his sons had mistreated him. The Buddha taught him some verses and advised him to recite them wherever was a large gathering of people. And the gist of the verses was as follows: "My 4 ungrateful sons are like ogres. They call me Father, Father, but their words come only out of their mouths, but not from their hearts. They are deceitful and scheming. Taking the advice of their wives, they have driven me out of their homes. So now I've been reduced to begging. These sons are of less service to me than the walking stick of mine." When the appointed day came for the Brahmins of Savatthi to hold their meeting, and knowing that his sons would be there, the old Brahmin also attended the meeting. Now at that time the prevailing law dictated that whoever ill-treats their mother or father and does not support or look after them in their old age shall be punished. Many people in the crowd, on hearing the verses recited by the old Brahmin, went wild with rage at the ungrateful sons, and accused him of neglecting their father. Then the sons realized their mistakes and knelt down at the feet of their father and asked for pardon. They also promised that from that day forth they would look after him properly and would respect, love, and honor him. They also warned their wives to look after their father well. Each of the sons gave him proper food and clothing from that time on, and when the Brahmin became healthier, he went to the Buddha and humbly requested him to accept 2 trays of food each day of the 4 he was given from his sons. One day the eldest son invited the Buddha to his house for alms food, and after the meal the Buddha gave a discourse on the benefits to be gained by looking after one's parents. The Buddha related a story to them of the elephant called Dhammapada, who looked after his parents, which is related in the Matteyyatā Nagaraja Jataka number 455 if you're interested, which is related the previous lifetime of the elephant Dhammapada, which was captured and became uncontrollable because of its strong filial piety, pining for its parents who were left in the forest. Even the Buddha himself started his career of pursuing perfections by expressing filial piety for his parents, with the Bodhisattva carrying his mother on his shoulders as he swam while set adrift from a shipwreck in the ocean with no land in sight. Repaying our debt of gratitude to our parents for all they have given us since before conception, from conception to birth, our bringing from birth to adulthood, both in physical and spiritual ways, is something that is the mainstay of Buddhist practice. Most of the things which come to mind for serving and assisting our parents are things that we can do when they are still alive, whether it be by looking after them in their old age, perpetuating the good work for society our parents have already started, carrying on the good name of the family, or using the family wealth in a responsible way. The Sigalovada Sutta also tells us that a dutiful son or daughter should care for the parent who has already passed away by performing funeral rites and continuing to dedicate the positivity of good deeds done on the parent's behalf regularly after their death. Sometimes memorial merit-making is done at the 50-day or 100-day marks after the death of a parent in the Thai community on the full moon or on the full moon days. And in the Thai and Sri Lankan communities, it's traditional to dedicate merit on the anniversary of the parent's death each year. The way merit is dedicated is usually by offering a meal on behalf of the deceased or organizing a ceremony for chanting matteyyatā or the Dhammapada Sutta, as we do here in the IMC in Azusa every full moon day. And on that occasion there will be the offering of picked up robes and supplies to the monastic community, and the merit is dedicated by the pouring of water for the dedication to the departed. It's also a time for the sons and daughters of the surviving generation to bring to mind all the good deeds the late parent has done throughout their life. And in comparison between the virtues of children and their parents, the Buddha categorized children into three different categories. The first is the sort of child whose virtue exceeds that of his parents, and who brings more prosperity to the family than during the time of his parents, known as abhijjāta. The second is the sort of child whose virtue is equal to that of their late parents, and who brings the same degree of prosperity to the family as was brought during the time of their parents, known as the anujjata Buddha. The third sort of child whose virtue is less than that of their late parents, and who brings less prosperity to the family than during the time of their parent, is known as the avajjata Buddha. If you realize that your virtues are less than your parents, then you should strive hard to recapture the good deeds exemplified by your late parent during their life, before the family falls from prosperity. And if your virtues are equal to or greater than the virtues of your parents, then you should keep going with your good deeds, and rather than getting complacent, you should trust that your good deeds will be smiled upon by your late parent, earning extra merit for them even beyond the grave, while ensuring the prosperity of your family for a long, long time to come. And I should add that especially on behalf of the Venerable Michael Viradhammo, that in our temple it's also encouraged that monks look after their parents in both during and after their passing by doing as many good deeds, even performing acts of generosity on behalf of the parents. In many places monks are expected just to practice sila, samadhi panya, but in our own temple we are encouraged to practice dana sila bhavana as well, and these things can help to support our parents even beyond the grave, because our monks are also encouraged to give, especially on behalf of our parents, in order that they have merits apart from the obvious merit of having become a monk in the first place. So this thought brings me back to the Buddhist proverb from the Dhammapada with which I started the discourse, that Sukhā matteyyatā loke atho petteyyatā Sukhā, Sukhā sāmaññatā loke atho brahmaññatā Sukhā. Blessed in this world is cherishing one's mother. Cherishing one's father too is blessed in this world. Blessed is supporting the ascetics. Blessed too is supporting the noble ones. The message from this teaching is that it is a blessing to cherish and care for one's parents. But since those parents or relatives of ours can no longer increase their own merit after they have passed, it is up to us as sons or daughters to fulfill the duties of filial piety outlined in the Sigalovada Sutta, and to dedicate merit for those loved ones regularly to the best of our ability after their passing. Immiññā kata puññena, through the power of the merits arising from the Dhamma talk today, may these merits bring Mr. George Kokoska happiness and prosperity in his new rebirth according to the wishes of the supporters on this occasion, and may these merits bring all the supporters long life, strong health, strength, happiness, quick-wittedness, whatever good things you wish for in life, may those things come to you easily in every way. And I should add that instead of mourning Mr. George Kokoska, we should bear in mind that he had cultivated during his own life a not insignificant number of good deeds. For example, John G. Kokoska was a devoted and loving husband, father and brother. He graduated as a mechanical engineer from the University of Pittsburgh, and advances in his career brought him to Atlanta, Georgia. He is also known for taking good care of his employees and business, and always provided tirelessly for his family. Additionally, he supported his children in their sporting, academic and professional endeavors. He also helped in charitable outreach with missionary work in Jamaica, and supported his son Michael to follow a monastic vocation as a Buddhist monk, always keeping an open house for visits by the monastic community. So it is to be expected that with all the good deeds the deceased cultivated during his lifetime, together with the merit from all these funeral ceremonies organized in his name, especially the merit of giving today's Dhamma talk on the gratitude to parents, that as John G. Kokoska looks down on us from his new existence, he will be led to an ever brighter and more refined status in his afterlife existence. And now, before we hear the Mattika chanting, I would like to invite everyone to call to mind all the merits arising, as we reflect in silence just for a few moments on the merit arising, as we continue in our duties of filial piety, even beyond the grave, for our loved ones. We close our eyes gently, bringing our mind back gently to the center of our body. Bring to mind all the merits arising from the filial piety, running as a pure, clear stream of merit through the center of our body. Gathering together all the merits from many years or decades that we have supported the temple, participated in temple activities, in addition to the merits that will arise from the Mattika chanting today, and all the good things which George Kokoska cultivated for himself during his lifetime. May these come to mind, first of all, in our own hearts and minds, also be easily remembered by John Kokoska wherever he is at this time, so that these powerful merits running through the hearts and minds will help to lead him to an ever brighter, more refined and happy place, wherever he is to be found at this point.
It certainly is very comforting in a time of loss when you have this supportive community. I find that many times as Westerners, there will be a deep sadness surrounding death. And however, with the wisdom from Buddhism, of being able to do merit, do more good, and to share that positive spiritual energy with those who have passed away. It's a very, there's less of a finality to death. And we know that the living can continue to help those who have passed on. And so to have access to a place that can do ceremonies such as this, and monks and lay people alike who can join in on the merit making and send that positive spiritual energy to my dad, which can now help him to rest more peacefully, to be in a happier state in the afterlife. This is something that is extremely comforting in such a time. So on behalf of my family and myself as well, I just want to express my gratitude for the support of the community, and just thank you all for your support and attendance today.